Greeting to all the students. Welcome to Global Online. And from today onwards, for your June 2023 examination, Global Online has started rapid revision series for paper 1. This rapid revision series will be in the form of crash course, including all the latest topics which were, a part of the question paper in your cycle, that is in the latest cycle also. So this teaching aptitude crash course, wherein in 1 hour we'll be completing one complete unit, focusing on those all important topics where you have to ensure that without revising these topics, you're not supposed to go for examination. So whatever happens, even if you see this entire video properly, still it will be easier for you to revise all those topics and get yourself prepared for your upcoming examination for June 2023. So let's start the session for the day. So before we start a session, along with this, the Global Online has also brought up for you quick revision PDF for paper 1. Now, what is this quick revision PDF for paper 1? This quick revision will be consisting 2000 plus MCQs, updated MCQs, current affairs, short notes, okay, previous year question papers, and most repeated questions. All this is available at a fee cost of ₹699. You can get in touch with us on the given WhatsApp number in order to avail your PDF for quick revision. So now let's start the session. As I said, in this session, we are going to complete all those important topics which are definitely a part of your question paper. The only thing is you have to do is concentrate very well. Make a note of it. Even if you feel that, okay, you have to revise these topics, before the examination, you can do that. So let's start. Before that, just make a paper, just make yourself available with a paper and pen so that whatever important points, you can note it down. So very first important topic, which we will be discussing. Before that, you can also get the facility on the Global Online app. This app you can download with the help of Google Play Store. This is the interface. You also have a revision crash course wherein we have all the syllabus, unit wise. We have video lectures, MCQs, as well as mock test, which is available in Hindi and in English also. Okay, saying so, let's start with the first topic. A very first important topic today for your teaching aptitude is Bloom's taxonomy. So basically, what is Bloom's taxonomy? It's something which is started by Benjamin Bloom in the year 1956. So it is nothing but a classification of learning outcomes and skills that an educator set for the students. It means it is basically the classification of learning outcomes, which was brought up by the educational psychologist at the University of Chicago. This the terminology has been recently including the 6 levels of learning, and the 6 levels of learning are used to structure, the learning outcomes, the lessons, the assessment of your course. That is the course which is learned by the student. So in Bloom's taxonomy, let's see how does it looks. So this Bloom's taxonomy consists the steps, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating as per the latest, update. Now, when we say remembering, it is basically to recognize and recall the facts which have been known, understanding what the facts means, applying, how to apply the facts, rules, concepts, and ideas, that is application part, analyze, that is to break down the information into the component parts, evaluating, that is judging the value of information or ideas, and creating, it's combining the parts to make a new, that is whole, entire whole system. So these are the steps. Now in examination, yes, you get the steps. Now, what type of questions are available over here? First of all, which skills are into the lower level skills, okay, lower order, and which are into the higher order, upper order or higher order. This is one set of question. You even get to arrange this sequence from lower to higher or higher to lower. The question can come in any part. You also get this, the statements, like for example, breaking down of information into in the components, or it is, which step of Bloom's taxonomy. So there are a lot of questions coming on Bloom's taxonomy. You should be very, very thorough with Bloom's current updated, concept of Bloom's taxonomy. At the same time, why is Bloom's taxonomy important? You may get a question out of this also. Let's have a look at this also. It helps the educators, that is the teacher, to map the learning within a single lesson or even the whole course. So in order to map the learning, teachers use Bloom's taxonomy. It is used as a guide, or trainers can identify the clear instructions. Okay, they can create the plans to achieve them. By setting objectives for learners, instructor make them more active and responsible for the education. In order to have an interactive session, Bloom's taxonomy plays an important role. It also, taxonomy is useful for evaluating the learners. Okay, in order to assess the learners, taxonomy is used. Like for example, an essay, for example, is probably not the best form of testing when the learner only needs to remember basic facts and terminology. So based on the steps, it will help to, give a appropriate evaluation stage or what exactly, which step to be taken. And Bloom's taxonomy also allows the educator to map the progress of the learners. It will help them to determine that every learner needs to be assigned with which task. So please remember these. See, I'm not telling that these statements can come, but yes, for assertion, for reasoning questions, for statement questions, this particular topic is very important, that why Bloom's taxonomy plays an important role. So it is to map the journey, it is to guide the learners, it is to ensure that the learners are becoming more active, to evaluate them appropriately and help them to assign the tasks which is important at that particular point of time. Yes, by saying so, then we'll move to various, as I said, we have the skills. Here from this particular slide, you will understand which are the lower order thinking skills and which are higher order thinking skills. And what is this all? These are the command verbs which are related to each stage. Okay. So yes, from this also you may get match the following questions, or you may get the questions. You have to recognize the command verbs. So like, for example, when we talk about knowledge, okay, it talks about, it is one of the lower order skills. Defining, arranging, recalling, repeating, memorizing. When we talk about comprehension, it talks about paraphrasing. It talks about describing, explaining, generalizing. When we talk about application, it talks about operating, demonstrating, interpretation, to illustrate, to schedule, to produce. When we talk about analysis, it is to categorize, it is to inspect, it is to compare, discriminate, okay, to criticize. When we talk about synthesis, it is to create, okay, it is to it is to formulate, it is to construct, it is to organize. When we talk about evaluation, it is basically in the form of what? Assessment. It is a form of conclusion, in the form of appraise, in the form of comparison. So these command verbs, these slides, you should be little bit very thorough with, especially with higher order thinking skills and lower order thinking skills. So this is what we have, in all about Bloom's taxonomy, one of the important topic which should be known by you people very well. Okay, coming next step is, Gagne's model of instruction. So sometimes in the form of objective of learning, teaching learning, these questions like Bloom's taxonomy and Gagne's model of instruction is a part of your question, and definitely it is to be revised very well. So take some time before you go for the examination and make sure that you're revising these topics very well. Okay. So like, for example, in Gagne's, it tells that when the adults are presented with certain stimuli, okay, and the focus on learning outcome, how to arrange specific instructional event. That is how to arrange the things in order to achieve the outcomes. That's what it talks about. Okay, so let's see, there are these steps of Gagne's. Now, this steps talks about what it takes. It talks about gaining attention. Okay, in gaining attention, that is present the learner with an introductory activity that engage the learners. Now, we know very well that teachers, the educators need to ensure that the first few seconds, the first few initial start of the class is very, very important in order to ensure that, the students' attention is properly grabbed. Then inform the learners of objective, tell them why it is important. What is the objective of you teaching that specific topic or a lesson? Yes, make sure that they stimulate it with the prior knowledge, use of previous knowledge. Then a present stimulus, that is present the learner with the content material, study material, which is useful for him to refer. Provide the learner guidance, give him the examples of the similar situation. Elicit the performance, that is present the learner with practice activities, give some demonstration. provide the learner with the feedback, according to that assess the performance, and then enhance the retention and transfer, so that the retention, is experienced, and then comes what, the transfer of knowledge. And this is very, very important, especially when you are involved in this teaching learning process. That's how it is very, very important for everyone to remember all these aspects very well. Okay, now let's talk about its events, example, and cognitive process. So this particular slide I have specially added. So here, gaining attention, okay, is nothing but how will you relate your event to the cognitive process. So gaining attention is all about reception. Identifying the object is all about expectancy from the learner. Recalling the prior learning, that is retrieval, where you are trying to take the help of the previous knowledge. Present stimulus, that is selective perception. Guide learning, that is semantic encoding. Elicit the performance, it means responding. Provide the feedback, it means reinforcement, that is in the form of positive or a negative reinforcement. Why positive or negative? See, positive or negative will help the students to understand, okay, what is to be done and what is to be not. So your positive reinforcement will give them the encouragement to do the right things. Assess performance, it means retrieval. Enhance the retention or transfer, that is generalization. So this also you can help to understand. It can be in the form of correlation. Okay, now next topic which we have is, so we have completed 2 topics. One is your first topic was related to Bloom's taxonomy. Next topic is related to Gagnet's model of instruction. So which is very, very important, including the following steps, how they are correlated with cognitive process. That also we have learned. Okay. So now let's say that how exactly the next topic, what is the next topic, and how to go for next topic. So the learning domain. So we know that yes, from this topic also definitely short the question comes that there are 3 domains, that is cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. So now what is the cognitive domain all about? It talks about all about the knowledge. Attitude is been reflected under affective domain, and psychomotor is basically about skills. So cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. So now we have 3 concerns over here. One is cognitive, which is basically about knowledge. Affective, which is basically about attitude. Psychomotor is basically about the skills. Okay. So now we are talking about what? We are talking about your the steps which are involved in cognitive, which are involved in affective, and which are involved in psychomotor domain. So now let's see how it goes. So now let's start with your cognitive domain. So as I said, cognitive domain is basically for knowledge. So what happens under cognitive domain? It helps to recall the data, which we have done under Bloom's taxonomy right now. Understand the data, apply, that is application, use, analyze, that is structurize elements. Synthesis, it's to create and build, and evaluate is basically to assess. So this is what all happens under what? It all happens under your cognitive domain. Okay. Affective domain, which talks about attitude. So it takes into consideration the receive, that is awareness, respond, that is reaction, value, that is understanding, okay, organizing personal value system, and internalize value system, that is to adopt the behavior. Coming to psychomotor domain, that is skills. It is imitation, that is copy, manipulation, following the instructions, develop precision, articulation, that is combining or integrating, naturalization, it is to become expert. Now please remember how this particular question comes. So under this topic, the question is based on what? The question is based on arranging the steps. Okay, so you have to ensure that these steps are arranged very well. Okay, sometimes they even ask they give the steps and you have to arrange them in the sequence, okay, from higher to lower or lower to higher. So you need to know these steps under cognitive, affective, psychomotor domain. This topic is also very important because some question is seen from these domains very well. Okay. Now coming to the next is level of teaching. Another very, very important topic is levels of teaching. Now under levels of teaching, please remember that you have, this in the recent 2023 cycle also, these levels of teaching was, a part of your, I mean to say, it is a part of your question paper. So you should be well aware about this. So let's see. So you have basically three levels: memory level, understanding level, and reflective level. Autonomous development level of learning, that is self-centered level. It is there in the questions, but you do not have a specific topic as per the syllabus. Okay. So let's see now. Let's see what exactly this all domains are about. And then you can, make sure that if you are still wanted to revise it, you can come back to this, as you have the notes also with you, and you can ensure that you are revising it very well. Okay. So let's see now. So we are talking about what levels of teaching. So levels of teaching, which brings, overall development in the personality, with the help of teaching learning process, which is where the interaction takes place between the teacher and the learner. It helps to bring, the change in the behavior. It helps to ensure that it's at developmental stage. I mean to say, it is here the aim is to bring the change in the behavior of the student. It is basically teacher has to keep in mind the developmental stage of the learner, so that the objectives which are, desired, the process which is basically done in order to get the desired objective is is successfully achieved. So let's see now this. Let's see exactly what are these three levels, that is memory level, understanding level, and reflective level. Now, in this particular notes also, I have gone in detail, because in the recent cycle, what I have observed is the questions are not, like upper, they are in the detailed topics. So you need to once read this very well, just to make, understand what topics details are given and what type of questions are expected. So yes, memory, which is a thoughtless teaching, which understanding is a thoughtful, and reflective is upper thoughtful. So let's see memory level. So where I have given you the main concerns of memory level with the characteristics along with the merits and demerits. So talking about the memory level, it is concerned with thinking ability, which actually it is concerned with, the mental ability, sorry, but it does not play, the thinking ability does not play any role over here. Students only cram the facts and information. Teaching is nothing but learning the subject matter with the help of rote learning. The role of teacher is very, very prominent in this. The study material is organized and pre-planned. It is in the sequential order. Talking about the memory level, the merits, yes, it is useful at a lower classes. Definitely, it helps, they have development of a rote memory. The teacher plays an important role with respect to, planning. The teacher acquires the primary position over here. Yes, and it is one of the important step which is creating a base for your understanding level and reflective level. Now, demerits of memory level, that is the capability, that it does not contribute to the development capability of a student. Yes, they are into the strict discipline. Here some amount of motivation is lacked. Okay, the knowledge is, gained does not prove helpful in real life situation. So it does not, helps in developing the talents of the student. Coming to your understanding level, as I said, understanding level, it is to grasp the idea and comprehend the meaning. Basically, understanding by seeing the total use of facts, the relationship, a generalized side. The merits are about, to use the thinking ability, to acquire the base of reflective level, to ensure that the knowledge is, previously acquired. It is not rote, it is, understood with the help of facts and information. Demerit, when it comes, this level is subject-centered. There is no interaction between the teacher and student. The type of teaching mastery here, the type of teaching mastery that is emphasis. This is what it gets, focused on, including its merits and demerits. Coming to the highest level, that is reflective level. A reflective level is most thoughtful level, which is achieved only after memory and understanding. Yes, it helps to solve the critical problems. It involves problem solving, critical situation. It helps the students to develop their talents and ability. It helps, it makes them problem centered. It makes them think, as per the problems. So here, it is not teacher centered or subject centered. So basically, it is, this particular interaction is, as I said, it's highly thoughtful. But coming to the demerit part, it will be really very challenging for mentally matured students. It cannot, the students cannot acquire systemization in this, and it is only suitable for higher classes. That is, for higher class students. So yes, somewhere it becomes a drawback at a lower classes. Okay. Now, coming to the next topic is instructor-centered teaching and learner-centered teaching. Now see, here also these two topics are very important. Again, on these two topics, what is seen, the questions are seen based on, statement. The questions are seen based on your, normal assertion questions. So be careful when you get such questions. You have to ensure that you're reading the question very well and understanding what has been expected, or what are you being told to go for from the given question. So let's see, instructor-centered teaching, that is, where the main role is played by the instructor. Yes, learner is here passive. The fully responsibility is, as an instructor, there is full responsibility about what is taught and also about, how it is learned. The learner is fully dependent on instructor for all the learning. Here, the instructor is responsible for the process of evaluation, which is very, very important. Coming to the next is the learner-centered teaching. So under learner-centered teaching, basically, the more emphasis is in the classroom. As I said, it is learner-centered. It involves the abilities, the interests, the learning styles, which, plays the learning instructors very well. And it is a form of what? It's a form of self-evaluation. Okay. Now, coming to the next important topic is your evaluation. Now, yes, here from this, again, there are lots of questions. So whether it is placement, diagnostic, formative, summative, norm reference, or criterion reference. Here also students, though they are revising it very well, but still they, they definitely get some amount of confusion when the question comes. So it's very important. You should know very well all the types of evaluation. So based on the functions, we have evaluation called as placement and diagnostic. Approaches are in the form of formative and summative, and interpretation or reference in the form of, norm reference or criterion reference. So let's see. Now here, the very first drawback is, or you can say, the very first confusion is about placement. So placement does not talks here about the final placement. Placement here talks about what? It talks about your pre-assessment. It means that when you select, as a student, when you decide to go for a particular stream, or when you decide to go for a particular option, so that time this type of placements are used, so that, with the help of the skills, the students will be placed with the appropriate subject they need to opt for. So that is placement. It's like a pre-assessment. Diagnostic, it is basically to reach the root cause of the problem, to understand what exactly the problem is all about, and then accordingly take into consideration the steps, as well as take into consideration the root cause of the problem. So root cause, getting the problem with the help of what? Solving the problem from the root. That is very, very important. Now, formative assessment, which is an ongoing process, which is on continuous basis. Feedback is given over here so that there is an improvement. But at the end, that is like this formative feedback, slowly, gradually will help you to give a final feedback that is in the form of summative feedback. Summative, which is taken, which is done with the help of what? With the help of all together the accumulating parts where everything gets, into picture. So this summative feedback is basically done at the end of the course, you can say, or at the end of the semester. And for the summative feedback, formative plays an important role. Now, let's see, let's have a look. So formative, as I said, throughout the course, it is to identify gaps and improve the learning. There are various approaches that, support the specific needs of the students when it comes under what? When it comes under your formative feedback. Okay. Now, next we have a summative feedback. So summative feedback basically, as I said, it's done at the end, and it collects evidence with the help of students' knowledge, skill, or proficiency, and how it is a cumulative assessment. Okay. Now, yes, going ahead, I hope it is going on all well smooth. Let's see how basically, we can proceed further till this. I hope things are going much pretty. As I said, I'm giving you and idea that how this specific, options, or how these specific topics you have to be very clear with. So let's see how make sure that you are important concepts, you're writing it down and taking it, into consideration, but without fail, do not forget to revise this properly. So now let's see norm reference and criterion reference. Here also there is, a lot of confusion. So norm, where the student is compared, or the student is, having a comparisons against the performance of their peers, okay, which is compared with the comparison with peers. Criterion reference test is basically, it is not against the performance of the peers, but it is with the help of pre-standard, or we can say with the help of the criteria or a cut-off score. So here the performance, it does not affect the student's score. So let's see how it happens. I mean to say, let's understand it very well, so that you should know, because there are questions where they have given very clearly that in this particular type of evaluation there is a comparison, so students get confused. So if it is a comparison between their peers, it is norm reference, but yes, it is with the cutoff or a percentage, or with the benchmark or a standard, that is called as criterion reference. Okay. Now coming to the next topic is the difference between pedagogy, andragogy, and heutagogy. This is very, very important for us to understand. Again, there are questions on this, not directly, but yes, the question comes. So pedagogy, which was brought up by Herbert, andragogy, which was brought up by Novels, and heutagogy, which was brought by Hayes and Keown. Okay, so pedagogy is teacher-led learning, which is, led by the teacher. Undirectional, here it talks about what? Undirectional transfer of knowledge or information. Unidirection, that is in the one direction. There is a transfer of knowledge, information, and content. That is with the help of what? It comes with the help of teacher. Now next we have is andragogy. So andragogy is self-directed learning. So that is teacher, okay, where the direction is multi or bi-direction. So it is, it is co-construction of knowledge. When we come to heutagogy, it is self-determined, at the same time learner-centered learning. So it is basically, you can say self-learning. It is beyond the knowledge and discipline. It seeks competencies. It engages in double deep learning, or it reflects a transformed learning. So yes, teacher is a learner over here, and learner is teacher. So this is what, we try to understand with the help of pedagogy, andragogy, and heutagogy. Again, the questions can come from this anytime. So you should be very well aware about this, which is directed by whom or led by whom. Next comes is, the next topic for you is learning theories. Again, this is very important topic. Here also, you get questions very well. So what I have done, I have helped, I have put down it in the tabular format. So it, it helps you to understand everything at one glance. So we have behaviorism, we have constructivism, we have next is connectivism, connectivism, and andragogy. So who has brought this behaviorism? That is Yvonne Palvo, John Watson, Burrus. Okay, it was basically with response to stimulus and response. based on observable behavior. Key theory was conditioning. Okay, on certain conditioning, the reaction happens. And the role of teacher, that is to create stimulus and response scenarios. It is basically to get into consideration with that. Now let's see what it talks about constructivism. So constructivism is basically, which was brought up by Lee Wittgenstein, Jean Piaget, German Brunner. Here, learning is an active process where the knowledge is constructed on existing knowledge and experience. It happens with the help of what? Existing knowledge and experience. A zone of proximal development, that is scaffolding. Yes, based on zone of proximal development and scaffolding, you also had questions in previous year question paper. Here it is talking about what? It is talking about basically this theory. It is talking about creating dynamic learning environments wherein the learner collaborate and construct the knowledge. So next comes is cognitivism. So it was brought up by Bandura and Brunner. The focus is learning, that is how learning is working in the mind of internalization of the content, work and long-term memory, basically cognitive load theory. It creates optimized learning environment that, that helps into the cognitive loads. Connectivism, it talks about, it was brought up by George Simmons and Stephen Downes. It is focusing on social technology and constructing the knowledge, where the learners get online learners involved. They create engaged online communities. It helps to design the connection between the learners. So this plays an important role under connectivism. Coming about or talking about andragogy, which was brought up by Knowles, which is basically adults learn self-driven, which is talking about, concrete problems in their social environment. Here it is talking about the self-concept. It is talking about the adult learner, readiness to learn, orientation to learning. Here respect learners' prior knowledge and focuses on the solution for real-world problems. So yes, I meant to say, if you have not gone through this for any time, so you have to ensure that those topics which you do not know, take at least second revision for this. Just go through the topics very well, go through the notes very well. It will really help you to cover up your last minute revision. Okay. Coming now is phases of teaching. Now in phases of teaching, yes, we have three phases, that is pre-active, interactive, and post-active. So we are talking about three phases. Pre-active, that is, it refers to before. That is planning, which is, it is before your main stage happens. Interactive, it is something which refers to the conduct of, management. And post-active phase, it is like follow-up and consolidation. So pre-active is before, interactive is during, and post-active is after. So let's see these phases, what they are called as. So pre-active phase, that is planning stage. Interactive, it's called as implementing stage. Post-active is called as evaluation stage. Please keep the names in mind. Any type of names also can be, you may get, what is this option called as, or what is another name. So you should be able to write it very well. That is pre-active stage, known as planning stage. Interactive stage, known as implementation stage. Post-active is known as evaluation stage. Now, talking about, yes, just a second. Yeah. Talking about these stages in operation form. So in pre-active stage, what happens? What type of operation takes place? So it is fixing of goals, okay, or decision, as well as decision about the strategy. So goals are fixed and the decisions of the strategies are taken into consideration. Stage 2, interactive stage. It talks about it talks about diagnosis, and it talks about actions and reactions. And post-active stage, it talks about appropriate testing devices, and it talks about feedback and testing. Okay, so these are the phases. You should remember the phase, especially with the operations very well. Now, coming to the next, yes. Now here we have the next topic, that is based on what? It is based on methods of, or types of teaching methods. So there are which types of methods very well. So let's see what are the various types of teaching methods. So one is teacher-centered method. So you have teacher-centered method. You have learner-centered method. You have content-focused method, which is based on the content. Okay. You have interactive or participative method. Next we have is the lecture method. Okay. Next we have is the discussion method. Next we have is the study method. You have the tutorial method. You have seminar method, demonstration method, direct method, and online teaching method. So these are the various methods of teaching. I will just, later just put a very small video on this methods. So it will help you to understand these methods, how the question comes in detail, and how should you focus on these questions. Okay. Now, based on 2023 cycle, now see 2022 also and 2023. There was one topic which was, given little bit of importance, that is information processing model. So these was, based on this model, there were questions seen. So I've taken that topic also. So it will be helpful for you to understand. So this model focuses on what? It focuses on intellectual capacity. So what is the primary goal of this? Okay, it helps the individual to acquire knowledge. Through analysis of data, it helps to develop general intellectual skills. It helps to foster the ability to think logically. So please remember, you can get, a very nominal question also, information processing model. So this information processing model, basically talks about what? It talks about individual. It helps the individual to acquire the knowledge through analysis of data. It helps to develop general intellectual skills, and it fosters the ability to think logically. Now, under this, yes, the models, belongs to the various families. So one by one, let's see these families. What are they? So we are talking about what? We are talking about concept attainment model. So when we talk about concept attainment model, the model is designed primarily to develop inductive reasoning, but also the concept develop analysis. So concept attainment, it means where your concept becomes very clear. Advanced organizer model, here basically the model is designed to increase the efficiency or the processing capacity or the knowledge. Then we talk about inductive thinking model. Primarily, it is basically, it talks about what is, it is talking about, development of inductive mental process and academic reasoning. Hilda Taba is the exponent in this model. I have written over here, if you have seen, I have given certain, whichever possible, I have given you the names also of the models which are brought up by this by the famous personality. Just keep in mind, you can or you may get a question based on this also, and the information is available. You can just revise it very well. Now, cognitive growth model. So cognitive growth model, basically cognitive, it means your mental or intellectual development takes place over here. Inquiry model, it becomes, your mode of, the art of inquiry gets emphasized over here. Memory model, that is your capacity in biological science. Inquiry model, it basically talks about, certain facts or certain information which is to be presented. Then we have social interaction family. So under social interaction family, what is the aim? Let's see what aim it talks about: to train the students' work, to inculcate personal and social values, to develop, basically to develop the skills for maintaining human relation. Social, no? So see, social, it means it will emphasize more on the values, social values, and the human relation. Now let's see. The model is talking about what? The model basically speaks or belongs to group investigation model, role-playing model, jurisprudential inquiry model, laboratory training model, social simulation or social inquiry. So more, it talks about what? It talks about networking, community, and humanity. So these are the main aspects of this models which are taken into consideration. Now, we have next is behavioral modification model. So now behavioral modification here emphasizes is to reduce the stress reduction, to develop this behavioral styles, and to foster the leadership quality. So behavior. See, first we have intellectual, then we have social, and then we have behavioral, where the more of the focus is on behavioral aspect. So under this, we have anxiety reduction model, assertive training model, we have managing behavior model, We have program instructional model and relaxation model. So these focuses, these models belong to the following list of models. Then we have personal model. Now, personal model is something, which helps to understand the students, help the sense of self-work, understand their emotions, and to foster the creativity among the students. And it belongs to which category? That is non-directive teaching model, synthetic model, awareness, and classroom meeting model. Now let's see what are the elements. So there are various elements of these models. One by one, let's see what are these elements all about. So the model is developed, basically the elements of teaching model is developed by Joyce and Marsha Will, and they have, a definite structure. So this model, it has 6 elements of these, okay? There are 6 elements. The elements basically talks about what? The elements basically talks about the focus. It talks about syntax. It talks about social system. It talks about principles of reaction. It talks about support system. It talks about instruction and nutrient effect. So what these elements are, let's see one by one, what all is this about? So when we talk about focus, okay, so focus is basically, the main aspect of teaching model. It is one of the aspect of teaching model where the name and the objective of teaching, constitute the main focus. It refers to the goal of teaching. Syntax is about the phases of model, okay, which involves description or structure of the activities. It refers to presentation aspect of teaching. Social system is all about, the relationship between the teacher and pupil. Then we have next is the principles of reaction. So basically the teacher reacts to the response of the students. Support system, it refers to the additional requirement other than, facilities which are usually available in the classroom. Effects of the model, here it is talking about instructional and nutrient. So instructional, these are the direct effects of the model, which is basically from the content and skill. Nutrient, which are indirect effects. So new instructions are, as I said, it is a direct effect. A nutrient, it is indirect effect with respect to what? With respect to your learning involved. Okay, so this is also, see, till now the questions are not there, but as you see in 2023, there can be anything which is coming up new, which has to be, taken into consideration. That's the reason this topic was taken. Now talking about learning curve, okay. So let's understand. Yes, there was a question based on what plateau of learning or learning curve. So what is this question all about? Let's see. So basically, it talks about what? It talks about your number of trials or attempts at learning. So as an individual student, okay, as a single student, how many attempts or how many trials of learning is done by a particular student and his performance. So basically, when the process of learning starts, okay, when the learning is initiated, at that particular point of time, it is, it talks about what? It talks about your slow beginning. It indicates a slow beginning. Later on, when, the things start getting ahead, there is a steep acceleration. Now, this acceleration takes place, okay, and then there is, plateau created. Please try to analyze this very well. So what does this plateau indicates? Yes, you did it. It means that you, instead of quitting, okay, instead of just giving up, you have tried your level best in order, irrespective whether the beginning was slow, whether the beginning was not so, definitely it was not so different, or sorry, it was not so amazing, but still you have taken into consideration the beginning, which though it was slow, but you have taken an acceleration, you have taken a step ahead, and accordingly there, you have created a plateau. Now this plateau is nothing but, it talks about what? In spite of number of trials or attempts of learning, okay, you were able to achieve it and you have did it. So that is basically a plateau which says that yes, you have finally did it. Okay, that it talks about what? It talks about your learning plateau. So plateau is nothing a particular point or a particular phase where, in spite of your slow start, or in spite of your efforts, after gaining the steep acceleration, you have reached a place, or you have achieved something which you wanted to do it, or which you finally did and showed it. So this is called as what? A simple concept, but yes, even if the question comes, you should be able to remember it. Okay, now let's see the next part. Now here again there was one question, that was question in techniques. Okay, there are four types of questions. That is, question is called as memory question, convergent thinking, divergent thinking, evaluative thinking. It talks about what type of questions, what questions are STEM, and how is the cognitive operation which takes place. Sorry. So let's see what exactly it is talking all about. So this particular questioning techniques were given by Cardillo's four types of question, where we have a question type in the form of memory, convergent, divergent, and evaluative thinking, where we have question which are STEM, that is, who, what, when, where, why, how, in what ways. Okay, basically what is imagined, what is predicted, or you can say that how exactly it is justified or judged. So the operations, we'll see operations one by one. So when we talk about memory, it is basically recalling, or understanding with the name, with the definition, or with an identification. Convergent thinking, see, convergent, okay, that is the thinking which goes in one way. Okay, one same pattern or similar pattern, or in one direction. You can say it is one direction. Okay, which indicates explaining, comparing, contrasting. Divergent thinking basically talks about what? It talks about support, imagination, or it talks about prediction. Cognitive process or operation here takes place with the help of hypothesizing, or inferring, or predicting. Then we have evaluative thinking, which happens with the help of justify, that is defend, or to justify, to judge, and operations in the form of valuing, judging, and justifying the choices. So this is how it, the questioning techniques, you can get any type of question, whether it memory, convergent, divergent, or evaluative. So to evaluate, convergent, as I said, in one way, divergent, as I said, in a different directions. Okay, based on, hypothesizing or interfering on the various issues or topics or concerns. So that's how the questioning technique takes place. Now this is what we have seen. As I said, in this crash course, I have taken all those topics which, yes, are definitely important from your exam point of view, including your latest cycles, which I have taken, the questions which I have discussed with you in the last entire week. So based on all those questions, based on all those cycles, based on all this impact, I have brought up this crash course. No doubt, I have given you an idea with the help of this crash course. So it's very important that you just once go through all the topics which I have covered in the crash course. And at the same time, whatever new topic, suppose if I feel that, okay, I need that another topic is very important, I may focus on that topic also. I'll put up across that topic also in a form of small video. You can just go through those topics, revise those topic, learn those topic, and ensure that you are completing your crash course, and yes, you are getting ready for your upcoming examination. So tomorrow we will be coming up with next crash course, that is research aptitude. Today we have completed teaching aptitude. Tomorrow we'll come up with the next crash course, that is research aptitude. And this research aptitude will help you to again give an idea about all those topics which are important for your, from your examination point of view, which are important that you should be able to revise them before your examination. So tomorrow we will come up with research aptitude. Stay tuned. Make sure that you're revising, you're putting your hard efforts. And this is, the days are very near of your examination. So definitely there has to be 100% efforts from your end in order to crack your examination at this attempt. All the students who are preparing for the examination, and along with your paper one, if you're looking for paper two notes, these are the following subjects which you can see on the screen. where we are preparing, notes, where we provide you the notes in the form of notes and MCQs for paper 2. You can get in touch with us on the given WhatsApp number. Make sure that the fees has a concession of 20% off right now. So you are getting this particular material at the concessional rate of 1280. You can take this opportunity and even prepare yourself for your paper 2 along with your paper 1. So yes, that's all for the day. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, stay tuned for the next crash course, that is of research aptitude, which we will be having in detail, so that it will help you to recall again all the important points, revise it, repeat it, and during the time of examination you will be definitely able to understand what needs to be just go you need to take a glance and be ready for your examination. Thank you everyone. Have a good day ahead and see you tomorrow for research aptitude crash course.